Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, fellow amateur radio operators. Welcome to today's Amateur Radio Doors Global Daily Newswire for November 22nd, 2023. We're bringing you the latest in amateur radio, cybersecurity, space weather, general space news, and global geopolitics. This is your host, Luis, Hotel Bravo 9, Hotel Juliet Uniform. Let's dive into today's top stories. In amateur radio news, former Illinois section manager Tom Ciciora, Kilo Alpha 9, Quebec Papa November, has become a silent key. Thomas Tom T. Ciciora, KA9QPN, an influential figure in the amateur radio community and former section manager of the ARRL Illinois section, has passed away at 66 years old, leaving a legacy of significant contributions to emergency communications and amateur radio clubs. This news comes from the ARRL. And now on to cybersecurity news. Multi-stage phishing attacks exploiting QRS, CAPTCHAs, and steganography. Cybercriminals are now sophisticating phishing attacks using QR codes, CAPTCHAs, and steganography, marking a significant evolution in cyber threats. This comes from the Hacker News. Now let's talk about space weather. Zuerich University's new telescope for measuring extreme space weather. Zuerich University has been awarded £250,000 British pounds from the UK Space Agency to develop the High-Energy Proton Telescope, HEPTEL, a project aimed at advancing our understanding of space weather and its impact on Earth's atmosphere, particularly its effects on aircraft electronics and interplanetary travel. This comes from The Engineer. And here's the space weather forecast for the next 24 hours. In a recent report dated November 21st, 2023, spaceweather.com highlights current space weather conditions expected to influence amateur radio operations globally. Key highlights include low solar activity with a C7 class solar event observed from sunspot region 3492, a forecast of continued low solar activity with a moderate chance of M-class solar flares on November 22nd, 23rd, and 24th, which could impact radio wave propagation and variations in the geomagnetic field exhibiting quiet to active levels. These conditions indicate potential variability in high-frequency HF radio propagation, with the predicted M-class flares possibly introducing intermittent disruptions and further fluctuations in radio wave propagation, especially in higher latitudes. And now moving on to general space news. NASA's Webb reveals new features in the heart of the Milky Way. NASA's James Webb Space Telescope has captured detailed images of the Milky Way center, revealing the Sagittarius C region, pushing our understanding of the galaxy. This has come from Science Daily. And finally, let's talk about global geopolitics, starting with Putin's G20 speech, a geopolitical turning point. In an eagerly anticipated move, Russian President Vladimir Putin is set to deliver a speech at the G20 summit, a development closely watched by the international community for its potential to reshape the global geopolitical landscape. This coming from Newsweek. Moving on to Ukraine conflict, a threat to global democracy. The ongoing conflict in Ukraine, termed by President Volodymyr Zelensky as a fundamental threat to democracy, continues to be a focal point in global geopolitics, highlighting the significant role of Russia's President Vladimir Putin in shaping international dynamics. This is coming from The Hill. Moving on to Middle East tensions, the Israel-Hamas escalation. Escalations between Israel and Hamas are bringing new challenges to the Middle East's regional normalization efforts. The resurfacing of the Palestinian issue is impacting diplomatic relations and strategic alignments in this volatile region, coming from DAJS. Now, moving on to a different news. Changing geopolitics, the evolving role of armed forces. India's Eastern Army Commander, Lieutenant General Rana Pratap Kalita, underscores the shift in global geopolitics, emphasizing the need for civil society to work alongside the armed forces to navigate future conflicts effectively. This has come from Dev Discourse. And finally, 24 geopolitical concerns, mounting global tensions. As the global community looks towards 2024, there is an increasing focus on the potential ramifications of geopolitical conflicts. This emerging trend signals a growing need for strategic planning in the arena of international relations. This news has come from one news page. As usual, if you're listening to this audio version of this wire in YouTube, we kindly ask you to like and subscribe, as well as forwarding this to other operators. This has been the Daily Newswire for November 20th, 2023. Thank you for participating and see you soon.